Boy, just be yourself. If people don't like it if you're being yourself, fuck them.
It's Big Los,
Hollywood Kev,
and welcome to another episode of The Noize. If you haven't yet, go ahead and follow us on the Big Three, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Noize Podcast, and follow everything The Noize at beatnetworkonline.com. Announcements. I think this is episode 93, 94.
I gotta be later than that, don't it? Because we do the 100th next week.
That's not next week. Next month.
Next month. That's what I meant. Next month.
I'm about to feel like, don't scare me.
We do the 100th week next month, so we got two.
Anyway, this episode.
You could be about right.
This is episode 90 something. Corey, the corrector, if you're there, go ahead and say something.
You call that man Corey.
But as Kev said, we have our 100th episode, live episode, Cognac Conversations, keeping it 100 at the Truth Spot. One thing that I haven't done.
How is that going? RSVPs is finished, right?
Those are done. Those are wraps. So if you're coming through, you're gonna have to go ahead and pay that $5. But if you do the $5 pre-sale, then you get in and you get your free drink. And I realized that I never really gave people like the address. I just be like, hey, come out.
I mean, that address is in the flyer, but yeah, you would. Yeah.
It's in the flyer.
However, everybody found
exactly.
Flyer, yeah.
You know, everything kind of went off of the word of mouth. At least the RSVP did.
Right.
So for the people that need that information, as I stall to look for this flyer,
information that you need,
for this exact information that you need, is going to be at the Truth Spot. 1830 North Martin Luther King Boulevard, Suite 108. Doors open at 6:30. We're going to start off just with some music, kind of like a little social mixer going into it.
Yeah.
Like a light party.
Yeah.
We have pop-up shops from Vibes Brand & Co. and Afrotique. I actually want to shout out Afrotique, the owner, Loretta. She just won this award out here. She was recognized by Councilman Barlow.
Is that what you posted on Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Congratulations.
You know, so big up to her. So if y'all want to come see why she won that, come on through the Cognac Conversations, get you a dashiki or holler at our boy Vibes. And Vibes Brand & Co. really puts on for the culture here in Vegas.
Right.
He that's like one of his main things that he does with his clothing line is to show that Vegas has a culture, Vegas has a taste, Vegas has a look, at least Black Vegas.
Right.
And these are all Black owned businesses, by the way, because you know this is all about Black people at this event. And also October 4th through the 7th, New York Comic Con. Not trying to promote them, trying to promote us. The clique will be out there.
Right.
We will be working media for New York Comic Con. So if you are in the New York area, with y'all being our number 2 market, come and holla at us. We will be hitting the streets real tough. So, you know, you can inbox us directly. You can inbox the Noize pages
and all the food spots,
all the cracking nightlife spots that we won't get shot at.
I think you were about to say take us to where all the crack is. I was like, no, don't take us there.
Anyway, New York folk, come out and see us, man. Hang out with the boys from the Noize. I gotta stop saying that as well because Jay got me saying that shit from all his other shows.
Right, the boys from the Noize. I'm like, where'd that come from, Jay? Yep.
Exactly. Other than that, we are back in here for another episode. This will be a struggle in the beginning because we are both tired.
Yeah.
And it's not really from doing much of anything today. It's being outside.
Yeah.
Vegas decided, you know, to give us a cool little break from summer, give us a little rain, bring some clouds in, you know, a little bit of humidity, but, you know, it gave us a break from that oven that we normally deal with out here.
And the sun was like, oh, y'all, yeah, what Road Jones said? Y'all must have forgot.
Y'all thought shit was sweet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It came back with the meanest tea bag of heat.
Yeah, and I've been out there all day today.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I've been up and down this area just trying to get stuff done. So, you know, bear with us. We will pick back up as we normally do. I'm hesitant to ask, but, you know, it's kind of the process. Kev, how was your week?
My week was interesting. In a nutshell, this year, like I've told you before, I've seen life and I've seen the reverse of life in a matter of months. So this week has been interesting. I'll leave it at that. It's been very interesting. Yourself?
I am happy to admit that I have had a boring week.
That's big coming from you.
Man, the only thing I've done was go to work. Just a lot of work and just getting things right. I'm happy, I was able to, I guess, kind of have some chill. We're not having to, run around and do things back and forth. But, I'm cool with being bored. I welcome bored times a little more. No interesting stories. Really, we could just kind of get into the show.
Let's do it.
It's, we hate to open up in such a somber way, but we're recording this on Friday, September 7th. So for those of you who know what happened today, just to say it frankly, Mac Miller died.
Yeah, hell of breaking news. This might be the first time we've had like breaking news the day we record.
Exactly, like breaking news the day we record, and we're jumping right into the shits. You know what I mean? Right. And just looking at it and how everything went down, I was able to start following his career not too long ago. When he dropped the Macadelic album. Or was it tape? It was one or the other. He dropped Macadelic, and that's when I really started following him. Right, I tried to get into him earlier, but he really had that white boy that rap beer pong music.
He rap what Post Malone looks like.
Basically, he raps what probably Post Malone as a child would have looked like. Right. Like he used to be really big on this kids epidemic. Like his salute was basically like the thumbs up. Basically, it was very like childish. You know what I mean? And I couldn't really get into it, but I felt like he took the time to be like, let me be an artist and let me actually do some. I know I can rap. Let me get away from this gimmick and actually start spitting. So Macadelic and on, my favorite project from him is Good AM, and he showed me something that was completely unexpected on Good AM. Even the record before that, I'm sorry, but I can't remember the name of it, but he really started to grow into an artist. As you follow his career, you start seeing more and more about how they are outside of the music. And of course, everybody knew he was battling his addictions and everything and, going through a real tough time. So to hear that he died and so young at 26.
Yeah.
He had a line, in one of his records saying, don't mix his weed with that bullshit. I'm not trying to see the 27 Club. And for anybody that doesn't know what the 27 Club is, that's what is her name? Amy Winehouse, Jim Morrison.
A lot of people around within that age or age group. A
lot of the people that folks consider the greats and that died too young. A lot of them died at 27. Right. Okay. I think Kurt Cobain was in there too.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But so he has a line where he says he doesn't want to join the 27 Club, and here he is, 26 with an overdose.
Right. Yeah, that's bad. Yeah. I'm not familiar with his music. I don't want to act like I am or anything like that. It's sad to say, like, I can clearly see how many younger people he may have affected. Even people, obviously people in our age group. Only thing I don't like is, and it hasn't happened yet, I didn't see it, I don't want people to make it seem like it was Ariana's fault for this happening.
No, and people are already blaming her.
Yeah, that's
people are already blaming her.
That's not that girl's fault. She had nothing to do with that.
People were blaming her for, cause he did go to rehab.
Right.
People were blaming her for his relapse. One of the reasons that she left him was because of his drug usage. She was like, that was like one of the main catalysts for me bouncing. And people were like, oh, it's your fault, this, that, and the third. And she kept it real. She was like, I'm nobody's mom or babysitter.
Yeah,
I was there to
she didn't have nothing to do with that.
Exactly. Like she was there to be his girlfriend, nothing more, nothing less. And I look at it like the XXXTentacion thing, how they burned the baby mama's stuff that she left out there for him. And
have they been doing it to Ariana? I have not seen that.
Well,
I knew it would happen, but I haven't seen it.
Well, they haven't had like a visual or anything like that, but I doubt they're going to do that with Ariana only because the fan base are two different people.
Right.
A lot of Triple X's fan base are, those anarchist type, listeners or whatever. But, with this situation, I don't think it's going to escalate past blaming her. I don't think it's going to go to a place where she's getting trolled or harassed or whatever because of this, Now, one thing I do want to touch on, because it's like you said, you're not his biggest fan, so I wouldn't want to try to dive into a real Mac Miller conversation. One thing I do want to touch on that he explained a lot in his music and in his interviews was dealing with his depression. Again, this news just dropped today, so we don't have all the logistics of what happened. However, if it was to come out that this overdose wasn't accidental, it brings it back in the conversation at least dealing with the black community. Mac Miller's a white guy,
right.
But dealing with our community, when do we get to that place to talk about depression? Like, when do we get to that place that we can really have a conversation about the effects of depression and how it, draws you to substance abuse and how that abuse can eventually become fatal? When do we get to that place where we can actually have these conversations?
I don't think we can. I think it takes a person to be willing to come out and say whatever they're battling, but it takes the parent to be in a space to like, okay, let's talk about this and show this. I think in my heart of hearts, I think that the reason the black community downplays that is because it's just sad to say, but I think because of the white community. And I can only think that the black community tries to make us look as perfect or as superhuman as possible because they know that we aren't looked at that. You know what I mean? So I feel like they, like my mother would say, I'll ask what psychiatrist or whatever the case is. Oh, that's where crazy people go. And I think they try to do that for because of the white community. Right. I think if the white community may have not done some of the things that they've done up until this point, maybe that will change. So I guess it takes individual person and it takes like the parents to recognize, hey, this is what's going on and this is how it's going to be. I think our parents are probably removed from that. Like, I don't expect it to change with them. I don't see it changing until we start having kids. Because we go through it. I forget what I was thinking about, but it made me think like now people do drugs because they're trying to cope. Right. I can only imagine back then. Oh, we're watching Snowfall. I don't know if you ever seen that show. It's a phenomenal show. And it takes place in the 80s, like when the crack epidemic started. And it made me think like maybe some of these people that are getting strung out on that stuff back then, maybe they're trying to cope. You know what I mean? Like, we'll use the 60s, for example. I can only imagine the stuff that the black folks are doing to try to cope because they go outside. They can't even drink out of the same water fountain as regular people. You know what I mean? I like to think that the people us now, we do a lot of that stuff trying to cope, whether that be true or not, I don't know. But I can only think that back then, they probably were trying to cope however they could too. You know what I mean? So who knows?
It seems like these kind of drugs have been normalized so much that they can interview Demi Lovato's drug dealer.
Yeah, I don't understand how it's people locked up for drug dealing, but this guy is doing the TMZ
He's a star now. You know what I'm saying? But that's the culture now. Drug culture has become so prominent in this generation that it's normalized to interview a drug dealer who gave, you know what I'm saying, the damn near lethal dose of drugs to Demi. And you look at how it's so normal now. And Lean is a solid example. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's in the double cup. It's all in the music videos. It's the norm. It's the thing to do. Molly, the exact same way.
People still do that?
They do it quietly. They do it quietly now. But you look at all of that, and to bring this all back to Mac Miller, and not just Mac Miller, but what was it, Lil Peep?
Yeah.
Another dude that OD'd. It's so normal now that there hasn't been a conversation of drug culture. It hasn't been a conversation of abusing drugs. A lot of times, like when Lil Peep died, only thing you heard people saying was, I got to slow down. You know what I'm saying? On doing these Xans. I got to slow down on sipping syrup. Like,
I can only imagine what it's going to be like tomorrow. Like what people are going to say tomorrow. Imagine.
Mac Miller is all of social media right now.
Yeah, that's a fact. I've
He's
seen
the
some
entire
of my favorite
conversation.
rappers, like I'm hurt because
And no, I'm gonna be real. This one did hurt. Only reason it hurt is, like I said, I really was just getting on him, and then
you started to build a rapport through the music.
You started to build a rapport through the music, and you see his incline, and then you see his decline. One thing about artists that I always talk about is I like for artists to be transparent and talented at the same time.
Right.
I got to be specific with that because there's a lot of these new niggas that are transparent, and I'm like,
but you suck.
Like you're trash. So it kind of just sound like, you know, you're begging for attention. Granted, if you're asking for help, get the help. But this record doesn't sound like something that, you know, I want to, you know what I'm saying, put this on and then keep it in rotation. I'm pretty sure somebody does because that's why they're still out there, but it's just not for me. With Mac, you saw, you know, him address a lot of his problems. You saw and heard him, you know, really go through his history as an artist and of course dealing with his drugs as well. And then when I think it was Divine Feminine was the album where I can't lie, I wasn't really too big of a fan of it. You could tell he was in a different place, but it's a good place because he was with Ariana when he dropped that.
Right.
So it was a lot of happy, lovey rap. You know what I mean? That's matter of fact, to have you understand which album that was, it was the one he had with Anderson .Paak, I Can't Keep on Losing You, the Dang record.
Okay.
So that was the single from that. And I'm like, cool, I like where his head is at. And then with this latest album, you kind of saw, you know, this is the after effects. This is the post. You know what I mean?
Got you. Okay.
So this last album kind of let you know, like, there's something going on.
Something's off, right?
He's getting back, you know, to that place because he had that record that we put on our list, Self Care. And it was so weird because it's almost like he spoke this into existence.
It's funny you say that because I've different interviews of rappers that may have been in the game. They all kind of say the same thing. Like Snoop, for example, he was like, he made Murder Was a Case and then got a murder
case. Yep.
You know what I mean? So that goes to show the power in words, whether it be positive or negative. You know what I mean? Again, I was never a huge fan of his or anything like that until I came to record this. I hadn't heard a single song, but it doesn't change the fact that a life was lost.
Right.
A life that meant something to a lot of people is no longer here. And again, we still don't know the complete logistics of it, but it doesn't sound like, at least right now, it doesn't sound like it was on purpose. You know what I mean? So, rest in peace, Mac Miller. Yeah,
definitely. Rest in peace, Mac Miller. We don't want to keep this episode too somber because there are some great things to also talk about this week. But again, big rest in peace to Mac Miller. I've had him on rotation since they dropped the news. So, you know, that's what you need to do. Go ahead, give him those spins, man. I'm sure that'll help his family going forward.
I can only imagine his spins about to be crazy.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
You remember when Mike died? He got another fucking plaque from that.
Mike is rich off of his death.
Exactly. Yeah. So go ahead and, you know, do what you got to do to remember and respect and honor the man. But speaking of respect and honor, and I have some feelings about this as well, but we're gonna start on the good things. Colin Kaepernick has been secretly getting paid by Nike for a good chunk of time, and they finally used him for their rollout for their 30-year anniversary, I'm assuming. Personally, I thought that was a great move.
Me too.
Wait till after you re-sign, you know, you deal with the NFL, get them the new jerseys and everything, get all that shit set up, and then boom, this is our figurehead. I thought that was brilliant.
And we're going to drop our ad on your opening week.
On your opening weekend. So guess what? You're going to see Colin Kaepernick on NFL television. I thought it was genius. And I'm really happy that Cap was still able to get a check to really maintain that lifestyle. He saved his money, you know, the way he should have to maintain whatever lifestyle he was living beforehand.
Well, he does donate a lot.
And he donates a lot. So he has a bag. He has a solid bag that's keeping him afloat.
Right.
But to know that Nike kept him on their payroll until they felt the right time to reveal that this is who we're running with for our 30-year, I thought it was genius.
Me too. I agree with everything you just said. I thought it was genius. It was great. It was good. A small win for us in the black community.
Oh, absolutely. Now with that, addressing that, I'm not even trying to be, you know, a sour on the situation. I do have an issue with some of these conglomerates trying to monetize from social issues.
Right.
I don't want this to be a trend for these major conglomerates. Like, okay, let's bring in this person, you know, that represents this so we can help sell this. Like, I need people to remember that Nike is still a Fortune 500 company. They're still a major conglomerate.
Exactly.
And they still have the deal with the NFL at the end of the day. So this is a win for Cap, if anything. Right. Now, I'm going to absolutely take part in the petty and making, you know, the white people that aren't allies feel like shit.
Right.
Because the fact they're out here burning Nike shoes while wearing them, cutting the swoosh off of these shorts and off of these socks. One pair, because I'm pretty sure they still got plenty socks.
But they're the superior race, though.
Exactly. Of course. You know, they're smarter. I love that that's what they're going through at the moment because one, they have to see Cap every week now. They have to see him. And two, it's almost like you're you're so fixated on the fact that you think this man is disrespecting the military when there's been more military men come out and say, we don't feel disrespected. We kneel with Cap than it is the ones trying to, make it seem like he's being disrespectful to them. I've only seen one military guy that didn't serve in like Vietnam or something like that.
That's funny because I haven't seen no military person that do that.
It's one dude that's like really getting spins on social media. He sits inside his car and he just talks about everything Trumpy. And he just kind of, he tries to get his points across that way. And he talks a lot of shit about Cap. The issue that I have still with their anti-Cap stance is, how do y'all feel about the injustice against black people? I get it and I understand how you feel about the kneeling. I get that completely. Cool. That's how you feel. You think it's disrespectful? You think it's disrespectful. How do you feel about what he's kneeling for? And that's what I know for a fact, and what everyone knows for a fact, is getting overlooked on purpose.
I don't even go that far. The cat from Subway, what's his name, Jarrett, got charged and is in prison for raping or molesting child, right? White folks still eat Subway.
Absolutely.
So right then and there, that lets me know that, no, you don't, if it doesn't go with what you like, that's when you don't like it. It has nothing to do with how you feel, because if that was the case, then you wouldn't eat Subway no more.
I mean, but
your doctor probably beats his wife. He's still going to the doctor.
Oh, hell yeah. And it's funny, because this actually ties into something that we talked about before. It's almost like an all lives matter situation. The only time they truly care is when it deals with black people. And
it's against that.
And it's against that, because Black Lives Matter rallies together, and just because of the name, and let me not say that, because it could have been called anything else and people would still try to rally against Black Lives Matter.
Even if we were trying to take this in excuse me, even if we were trying to say all lives matter, you're not at the black rallies, so are black people lives included in that?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because they do a lot of petty stuff or a lot of stuff to hurt or purposely hurt another person or another group.
Right.
That's not cool. As far as the Cap thing, my only complaint is, and it's not even a complaint within white folks, it's a complaint with my own community. I'm seeing a lot of, Nike ain't for y'all people. They just, and I'm not saying that's not the case. I'm not saying that that's not true. My thing about that is, if we go through Nike's track record, I can't say that was they don't care about, or this is just a money grab to them 100%, because right before that, they stood up for Serena.
Right.
They didn't make no money off of that.
Right.
They did not drop Tiger Woods when everybody else did it back then. They didn't drop Kobe back then when everybody else was.
And his shoes were terrible.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So
they're the reason that Jordan is still a cajillionaire.
Yeah, right. I can't say 100% that this was just a money grab for them. I can't agree and say that, they probably capitalized off of this.
Yeah,
or
that's what I don't like.
Maybe they chose it was the right time. You know what I mean? And I agree with you. I don't want to see other companies follow suit and do that, but we have to take into account Nike's been paying Kaepernick since 2011. Right. Puma and Adidas tried to sign Cap well before them, but he declined. So this goes back to something we'll get in later. Everybody's not wrong.
True.
You know what I mean? That's the only thing that I have. And like I said, it was within my own community about that's the only way I refute that. As far as everything else, I get that. I'm here for it. I understand. Fine. But far as that, no, I can't 100% say, they're just trying to capitalize this money grab, because Nike can make money. That's not a problem. You know what I mean? That's not a problem. LeBron's about to put out a new shoe. You think they're not about to make money off of that?
Oh, they're going to cash out.
That's not a problem. So I can't say that this particular issue was the case. I mean, it's a lot that can go into it. I have to believe that it's at least one person that's like, you know what? No, I rock with him. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm good. Like you said, it's a win for Cap and it's a small win for us. I'll take it.
And just to piggyback off of what you're saying, a lot of people are saying that because they're like, I'm going to run out and grab Nike just to piss white people off, yada, yada, yada. And that's why they're jumping in like, don't forget, they not for black people. They're this, that, and the third. I stand by my stance of conglomerates taking advantage of serious situations, especially in our community.
I agree with that.
I don't want to see that. However, I'm not saying they threw us a bone, but when you have such a major conglomerate backing such a controversial situation, we don't need to shit on everything.
Exactly.
And that's the thing with our community. If it doesn't come from black hands, we have to shit on it. But
and that's what I don't like.
But then when it comes down to supporting those black hands, we want the hookup, or we want to just say you do a good job and don't want to do shit else towards it.
And that's it.
So it's a mixed bag. Trust me, if Nike was black owned, there wouldn't be no conversation right now. It'd just be, boom, get the win, get the W, or there would be no Nike because no one supported it.
Exactly. It'd be one of the two. Exactly.
So it just kind of goes back to that hypocrisy, just like cancel culture. It's we speak up and say one thing, but then we show actions of another.
I'm like I said, and it sucks because it's within my own community, but that's the only thing I'm not really vibing with. And when I see that, I don't even say nothing. I don't shake my head. I learned it's funny because that Tuesday, I went on Twitter and I was trolling this guy because I knew what he was going to say. I knew how I was going to be, but this is a white guy and talking about the cap thing. And it's funny because I let other people see it and they're like, he just talking around in circles. He's being hypocrite. He's a hypocrite. You know what I mean? So I see it. I know it. You know what I mean? And again, I get it. It may seem a little fishy, but when you really think about it, well, if you're going to say, if Nike is doing that, then why did they not drop Tiger when everybody did? Gatorade dropped Tiger. You know what I mean? Why didn't they drop Kobe? Why did they stand up for Serena and they didn't gain nothing from this?
And that's one thing that I appreciate and tip my hat to Nike for, because a lot of these conglomerates showed you they have no problem dropping these black athletes.
None.
At the second, as soon as they show you something that, okay, we're going to get too much backlash for it, gone.
Prime example with Drake and his Adidas thing. Dude, like with the Pusha T thing, everything happened. Adidas was like, yeah, we out.
Yeah, we cool.
So now Drake's hand has always been Nikes over checks. So they quick to drop them. And it was something as of, you not doing what you're supposed to do for this kid, allegedly.
Right.
It wasn't even nothing made.
We can.
You know what I mean?
We can take away that. We can look at as far as getting out of the sports realm of it. We can look at Pepsi.
Yeah.
As soon as Bill O'Reilly started talking about, Ludacris is a gangster rapper, this, that, and the third, Pepsi dropped him. But we have files of Bill O'Reilly touching on women and leaving them voicemail, stuff like that. And Fox kept him on the payroll for like 2-3 more years.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's still on the payroll somewhere.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm pretty sure he's doing something on his own at this point, but I'm pretty sure they paid him out the rest of this contract or something. You know what I mean? Or they're gradually doing it.
Exactly.
There's no way he just had 1 year left and then that was that.
Exactly. Yeah. So, not him. If that was the case, not Bill O'Reilly, maybe somebody else.
Right.
Yeah, not him. Yeah.
So like in that aspect, again, I salute Nike. Cause Nike has no problem standing with, colored athletes.
Right. And I guess when you're a company that's that big and that on top, you kind of can do what you want and not really.
You can do whatever the fuck you want. And I don't know if it was real or not, so maybe you can tell me. But I've been seeing this petty ass how to burn your Nikes list, that apparently came out from Nike. And the thing at the bottom said, just do it safely.
Right. I don't know if it was real or not. I thought it was very clever. If it is real, that's dope.
I hope it is, man. 'Cause people were sharing it like Nike for the win. I'm like,
it could be true. I don't know. You know what I mean? I haven't investigated that, but either way, I like to put those instructions because we got some dodos out there that
absolutely
don't know what they're doing.
Burning shoes while wearing them.
And then tweet it. Oh, I'm in the hospital. Duh, you idiot.
My thing is, why would you tweet that?
Yeah,
we saw how you got there in the first place.
Yes, we know, idiot.
Right.
You set yourself on fire, you dummy.
Here's my question. Why is it the first notion is to burn something?
I don't know. And what's crazy about that is y'all not burning like the good shit. Y'all burning monos. Y'all burning like the cheapest shoes Nike got. Like, no, you're not burning your good shit.
Not at all. I guarantee you that.
Those socks is like, those socks are like $20 and you get like 6 pair.
Right.
You're not burning no good. Come on, man.
You got them Jordan and them Forces all in the back.
Those socks is probably an upsell. Get out of here.
Shit. Speaking of, talking about the Forces, Nelly's another one. He had a cool little deal with Nike when he was pushing Air Force and Air Force Ones.
Came out last night. Brought me back. You brought me back.
I'm telling you, bro. Like it's so weird that they've been. I don't know. Cause it kind of makes me rethink my stance on. Well, no, I don't. I don't want conglomerates to capitalize.
I don't want them to be able to capitalize. I don't want them to see that and be like, oh, we got a trade. Let's do it.
However, if there is a conglomerate that is supporting black people, black artists, black athletes, I'm all for that.
How would you know though?
What you mean?
How would you know that the company is supporting black artists, black things, and it's not a money grab? Like, I don't think
that's the gotcha.
I don't think there's really a way to know. I mean, I guess if they're a black owned company, but even in a black owned company, kids would be like, okay, we're
about to say Uncle Tom is black.
out. Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like, how do you know?
I think when it comes down to companies, like, let me be corrected. Some companies kind of make it a point to not fuck with black people. Yeah. When it comes down to some companies, the only color that matters is green.
Right.
Somebody, there was actually a meme where somebody was saying, you know, y'all so quick to support Nike for this, but let's not forget they had a law enforcement appreciation day or something like that, appreciation week.
What's wrong with that?
And that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Law enforcement, we got an issue with the ones that shouldn't be law enforcement.
Shitty cops, exactly. Right. But that's what I mean. Like, at the end of the day, Nike cares about their bread, and they care about their bread, but they also have a moral standing. You know what I mean? So it's like when you have the people who are getting, the athletes and the rappers and everybody's getting dropped strictly because they're black, then it's like, okay, we're going to keep them.
Right. We're going to keep them. But I have to believe that Nike has, outside of me working for them way back when, I have to believe they have some moral code, because I remember when they dropped Pacquiao. Pacquiao was damn near the only Nike market. They didn't even, mind you, we didn't even have Floyd as a sponsor or whatever the case was. You know what I mean? He wasn't even signed with Nike. They had Pacquiao, and they dropped him because of the stuff he said about gay people.
Right.
So that lets me know that has to be some kind of a moral code.
But I'm saying they have some kind of moral code there.
You know what I mean? It's not just complete money grab. Could it have something to do with it? Absolutely. But it's not completely a money grab.
I think they look at it like, you know, if you're offending somebody because of their own prejudice, that's not our problem. That's their problem they have to deal with. But if you're being universally offensive, saying something about homosexuals, saying something about minorities, saying something about women, like whatever the case is, if you have that kind of prejudice and you're just blatant with it, no, then we can't fuck with you.
And I understand that. I believe that when I know we probably got some type of prejudice or something like that, but you still my mans.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, if you were to come out and be like, I don't mess with homosexuals, or you to put it on a broad spectrum like that, will I still be your man? Yeah, but I'll talk to you and I'll be like, Los, you know, like, you know what I mean? And maybe I may feel a certain kind of way, but no, outside of that, no, everybody got their own prejudice.
Exactly. No, and I agree with you. And for anybody that would be in that kind of situation, you say something about homosexuals, say something about black women, any of that.
Yeah, that'll make me be like, yo, what's going on?
That's not going to stop you from being like, that's my people. But from your moral standpoint, you're going to be like, hey, bro, that shit ain't cool. You know, if you're going to have your issues, you need to make sure you keep your issues to your fucking self, or you need to find a way to fix those issues.
Right. Or
understand I rock with this.
Or
community.
if you feel like you got to say it, figure out if it's the group or that person.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because a lot of people base a lot of their bias off of like one experience with somebody.
Prime example with being black. Our stereotype for being black is we all aggressive and angry. That's the general consensus. But when you meet somebody, you're like, okay, yeah, that ain't the case.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's been, and it's funny that you mentioned that. I've been told too many times that, I didn't expect you to be like that. Like, so how'd you expect me to be?
Exactly.
Like, what did you want? You wanted me to come in here, you know what I'm saying, sagging my pants and, you know, call you my motherfucker and, you know, what's good, my nigga? Like, nah, bro, we're in corporate America right now. Exactly. I'm trying to get this dough the same way you trying to get this dough. Now, granted, I could be as ignorant as I want to on this show. But, you know, if we're in a place of business, we all business while we're here.
Exactly.
I tell people all the time, the glasses I got now, I got these shit so I can look less threatening.
It's funny you say that, because I don't need mine as much. Like, I mean, maybe reading, but I got glasses and I'm like, you know what, my glasses, I look a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, just
less threatening then.
Exactly.
To them, like, it's not to you, it's not to anybody of our creed, or, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm gonna be real, it was kind of to everybody. One of the things that I used to get told in an undergrad, because they were like, all the people were interested in joining Sigma and all this other stuff, and they was like, I would never have some new cat that came up to me like, hey, they said they want to get down. I'm like, man, because they're scared of you. I'm like, man, they take the fucking time to get to know me.
Yeah, exactly.
But then it's like, no, they hear about all the fights you done been in, and you walking around, you ain't never have a smile on your face.
You ain't shit funny.
Exactly. Everybody wants to walk around cheesing. Well, good morning.
Why you don't never smile? Nigga, make me laugh then.
Exactly. Give me something to chuckle about. Giggle, motherfucker. As black men, that's really unfair to us.
It really is.
Like, it's super unfair to us. Like, we have to adjust our appearance just for you to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
That's just not cool.
You don't have to adjust your stuff to make us feel comfortable.
We have to adjust our moral standpoint. We have to adjust our appearance. We have to adjust our logic just to make everyone else feel comfortable. But no one's trying to adjust to make us feel comfortable. And you know what's crazy with that argument? A lot of people, they try to make it seem like, everyone's in favor of black people. You can't say the N-word. If the N-word is bothering you so fucking much, then let's sit down and have a conversation why the N-word, you not being able to say the N-word bothers you. And then I could talk about all the things that bother me dealing with your people.
Exactly. And by not, we don't say the N-word over, that's not helping us any kind of way. It's not. If you're all for black people, you really go out there and make a change. You can sit here and say, oh yeah, we don't tolerate the N-word, but you ain't been in not one march, not one protest. I ain't heard you say shit. Not a tweet, not a fake, nothing. But you know what I mean? It's hypocrisy. Like you said, it's hypocrisy. No, let's be clear. I want to be clear because I know I've said white people and I do mean that, but there are a lot of them that I'm like, I rock with, you know what I mean? Because they rock with me.
Right. Or
they rock with us. And then it doesn't have to be a black or white thing. It's a person to person thing.
It's just not enough to make a change.
It's not. I agree with that. It's not. And if it is, then we don't know about it.
Yeah, but I say that we are not witness to this at all. No, but exactly that. You know, I've gotten to the point where I'm not trying to make anybody comfortable. And really that comes down to any color in general. I'm really getting back to that fuck it mentality.
I agree with you. If I wanted to do something to you, I would do it.
Exactly.
It's really that simple.
If I wanted to be a threat, I'd have been a threat.
Exactly.
Correction. If I wanted to be a threat, it wouldn't have been a threat. It would have been an action. It would have already happened.
Exactly. It would have happened. So while you sitting there clutching your purse or trying to, no, sweetheart, nobody's trying to do nothing to you.
Exactly. I'm cool. Like, where my fat ass gonna run?
Right.
I'm gonna be winded by the time I get to the next
dude.
black.
Like I'm not gonna get pointed out or something. Come on, man.
Nigga ain't gonna see this big
Even
black.
If I didn't do it, you gonna say the big black dude did it.
Big black dude and all black running down the street with a purse. Everyone's gonna identify
it's funny
me.
You said that because I wore all black today.
We both did. We did this to ourselves. I just realized we outside cooking, just absorbing the heat.
All black today down to my socks and shoes.
See, I ain't committed that much.
Yeah. It wasn't just a shirt and pants. The socks, shoes, and black was too. Yep.
My shoes were gray, so my color scheme was off. But I didn't go anywhere that, I needed to be in full presentation. But to close out on this, man, salute to Cap. I'm happy that
bag. I'm all for people getting
exactly. I'm happy that bag has been present this entire time. I'm happy you haven't had any issues like that. He gave away so much money.
Yeah,
so this is
what he gets. He gets something. I'm not sure if it's a pension from him. He gets something that he donates that whole check to.
I don't know what it is, but either way, he's been giving away so much money and he's sowing all of that back. Like he's reaping the benefits of everything he's done.
And outside of him getting money, he's appearing, he's doing stuff that matters. Outside, I mean, a motherfucker could just give money and never be present. He's actually present to different stuff. So
right, exactly. So get the bag, young man. Please get the bag. Continue getting the bag.
Exactly. And laugh at him while you do it.
At the end of the day. Speaking on white craziness. Oh, the shits hit the caucus fan.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm all for it.
I'm all for it because we're getting back to that fuck this being friend shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm the king of this.
White crime. I love
it. So as everybody knows, M and MGK, they exchanged some words. We big up.
MGK, this wasn't bad. It was pretty good.
I'm gonna get to MGK.
It was pretty good.
M, of course, he kind of did the first attack by addressing what MGK said about.
No, let's be real. MGK did the first attack.
If you want to call that, it's okay.
Well, the reason I say is because Eminem's daughter was not a grown at the time.
Right. So
she was a minor. So as a parent, he's like, nigga, what the fuck you talking about? MGK was grown.
So we can go back to that then. MGK made a comment about Haley's daughter when she was like 16 or 17.
Daughter. Yeah. You said Haley's daughter.
Oh. Well, Haley, who was M's daughter, made a comment about her saying that she's looking good or whatever. And M kind of approaching things kind of late. He finally addressed it, now. And I understand why he addressed it now because he was like, well, shit, since I'm addressing the people that said my album was trash, I'm just going to address everybody.
Might as well.
I'm going to touch on everybody that has something to say about me in any way, shape or form over these last few years. He even got at Joe Budden, which we'll get to. So he finally addressed MGK on that. And shockingly, cause you don't see a lot of people respond when they get name dropped in a big group. You know what I mean? You saw it with Kendra's Control verse. I think the only person that had to say something back was Fab.
Right.
But with this, MGK replied, 2 days later?
Yeah, if not the next day, yep.
He replied, if it wasn't the next day, it was 2 days later. And he went to work.
Yeah.
He definitely went to work. Personally, I felt like it was a lukewarm response because I felt like it was a lot of respect being shown in the verse as just as much as it was disrespect. that's not really my cup when it comes down to
me too. If I'm
diss
disrespecting
records.
you, I'm disrespecting.
I'm disrespecting everything you
Right.
stand for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But also on the flip side, when you have to be realistic, that I can respect about MGK.
Right,
Like
right.
at least MGK knows that M is that nigga.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's a conversation I do want to introduce after we get done talking about this. But I think that was a solid shot. You know, that was returned to M's way.
Yeah.
One thing though that's kind of taking me out is everybody's like, well, M, you on the clock. He's never been that artist.
Right.
He's never been an artist to just respond, you know, just with a random track. Now, in this situation, he might, but you normally didn't get a response during the Murder Inc. Shady Aftermath beef until the next album came out.
Well, I won't say until the next album coming, but it was some time.
It was definitely some time.
Definitely some time.
And he just comes from that era where it just kind of just takes that time.
Right.
Oh, but when he does respond.
Yeah, when he responds, I mean, I'm not a fan of MGK like that. The only song, honestly, I do like him was one of his debut songs, and that's because it was from my city. Outside of that, I've never kept up with MGK like that, so I can say when M does respond to this guy, whatever career he had is probably going to be done.
Yeah, I've talked about my history with MGK.
Yeah.
So I've never been the biggest fan of him, but I got to salute.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Like to go out a giant and be
Right.
like, nigga, fuck you.
Not a giant, the giant.
Yeah, the giant. To go out the giant and be like, nah, fuck you. Yeah, you gonna put in work, but nigga, fuck you. You gonna take this punch. Like,
Right,
I
exactly.
respect that.
Now, since you mentioned that, then I want to kind of go back and talk about Joe. I was having this conversation with a few people a couple days ago, and not saying that I do. I just want to introduce the conversation. Is Eminem the greatest lyricist?
No.
Who would you put over M
Should I lyric wise?
lyrically?
Lyrically, shit, I can put Cole and Kendrick over him lyrically.
I would say Kendrick. Cole is dope, but
I can put Cole over him. Well, it depends. It depends because when I hear you say lyrically, I'm thinking of context. So
Right,
I can put Cole and then some of the older rappers or even the newer ones, not some of the older ones that are still here. I can put them over as far as word schemes actually making sense of doing that. No, he, like you said, he is the giant.
And that's what I mean. And that's the conversation I've been having. If you remove context, because we're going to say Kendrick, I'm going to say Kendrick.
We can rock with Kendrick.
Okay. Well, we would say Kendrick because not only is, you know, his delivery and his punchlines, his wordplay are fucking ridiculous. Context, we can relate.
Exactly. I think that's probably why M had him on, like, try to work with him because he understood that too.
Like, he has a lot more relatability than M. Take away context. Just from the strength of being an MC, because if you want to say context, there's a lot of people that can say Nas is the greatest lyricist.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of people that say Jay's the greatest lyricist from our community, at least. You take away context and just focus on strictly delivery. Content,
straight MCing, I'm giving that to him.
So with this guy being arguably the greatest out there, you've never seen him lose a battle outside of the first battle he lost that, you know what I'm saying, got him energized to get into the rap game.
Right.
What, everyone that's gone against him, what makes people think I'm going to shut this dude down? I'm going to end this dude. And I say that because it seems like a lot of people are convinced that M is washed lyrically. Song wise, I'd say he is, except for this last album. The last album was just bangers, but song wise, I think he is. But lyrically, I don't understand how people can think he's washed or can be washed.
I don't even think song wise he's washed because, I mean, yeah, this last album, except song wise, haven't been the best, but I won't say he's washed song wise. It's probably not his strong suit, but I wouldn't say washed. As far as lyrically, I think that's because they're in the game. Because if you notice, the people that are saying this either aren't completely fans with them or they're in the game. They respect him as a go, but they're in the same game.
Right.
And when you're in the same game as person, like, for instance, Kobe and Jordan, people sit there and talk about Jordan's a go, but to Kobe's like, nigga, fuck Jordan. You know what I mean? So I can only assume that it's because they're in that particular same industry. You know what I mean? You can be respectful. Like if I'm playing ball, I can definitely say LeBron's the same person, but it's still, no, nigga, when we playing, fuck you. You know what I mean? I have to look at that. I have to look at, it might be like, the people you see in movies when they go into jail, they find a big person, try to knock them out. when that's your goal, trying to knock the biggest person out, you don't ever think you're going to lose. You're not going to go into a fight like, yeah, I'm going to get knocked out. You go into a fight, I'm going to put this person on his ass.
Right.
So I have to think
I'm going to sleep.
Right. So I have to think that a lot of the people that feel that way think that way. They think that, you couldn't do it, but I can. And I respect that. I do respect that. They're wrong, but I respect that.
Like, you're wrong. You're going to get washed. But
I respect that, yeah.
But I'm not even talking about them. I'm talking about the listener. People are reacting to MGK's diss record like that was just the end all be all for M.
Look at the generation we're in.
Tis facts. However, there are some people from our time that are also saying.
And I have heard that. The people that are from our time never really rocked the M like that from the first place.
True.
M will always have a stigma of, if he was black, he wouldn't be getting this. And unfortunately, we don't know if that's the case. The reason I have to say that he would be getting this because Jay's getting it.
And here's the kicker. Here's one thing that people never really looked at when it came down to M.
Mm-hmm.
M told you on a record who exactly inspired his style. Mm-hmm. When he named his favorite rappers, the first person he said was Reggie. Mm-hmm. Now let's have some hip hop conversation.
Exactly. Let's get into it.
Who is Reggie Noble? Redman.
Talk about it.
Redman. If you are a true fan of hip hop and a real connoisseur of the game, go listen to Redman. Mm-hmm. Redman is the black Eminem. Mm-hmm. And I stand by it. I guarantee it. You know what I'm saying? I've been a fan of I think Method Man and Redman are probably the most slept on artists
me too.
In the industry.
Oh man, me too.
Like lyrically, these niggas, they go to work and Method Man still eats and Redman still eats. But if you actually pay attention to Redman, you would see where Eminem gets his influence from.
Reggie, Jay-Z, Tupac, and Biggie.
Andre from Outkast, Biggie,
Andre from Outkast, Jada Corrupt, Nas,
and then me. Jada Corrupt, Nas, and then me. Right. So he says it himself. Redman is his favorite rapper. Mm-hmm. And he's heavily influenced by Redman. So when we sit here and say if he was black, he wouldn't be this over. So whose fault is that? Because we have him. We have black Eminem.
Exactly.
And Redman's never mentioned. Mm-hmm. So whose fault is that? So we're so quick to get a nigga up out of here that just cause, he's a white rapper that everybody's calling the GOAT. Mm-hmm. Okay, but we have a black version. So now what?
Yeah.
But that goes back to what we're talking about in our community. We have a lot of hypocrisy.
A lot of hypocrisy.
Oh, they're going to hate us for this episode. So, it's great.
So?
Still come out to the Cognac Conversations and come and cuss us out face to face. Now somebody that I think can truly get busy with him and that I really want to see go to work, and exchange jabs is Joe.
Yeah, I agree. If you know me or if you listen to the show, you know that both of these gentlemen, M and Budden, are in my top 5. Mm-hmm. I do believe that Joe will be able to stand up and it'd be like a Tyson Holyfield thing.
Yeah.
But I'm still giving that to him.
Ooh. So would you Tyson Holyfield?
Well, that was the only because we know how that outcome went. Okay, if we I don't know. That was the first thing that popped in my head. But
no, I feel what I get what you're saying. I just had to look at the situation of how that one came out. You know what? Now that I'm actually thinking about it and going over the fights in my head, it really would be a Tyson Holyfield situation. And the reason I said that is their fights came down to decision and then of course disqualification for one of them. Right. So I can see how so that's actually a really good analogy. I salute you on that one.
Shit, that was the first thing I thought of. I didn't know if I just knew you know what, I'm looking at it and I was like, okay, fine.
I could see that being Tyson Holyfield. I could see in this situation, Joe would be Tyson.
I can agree with that. That's the way I was putting it.
And M would be Holyfield because, Holyfield, he knew how to frustrate Tyson. Mm-hmm. He knew how to piece him up and get in and make sure them points count. That's going to be M. M going to hit at some shit. You heard with the jab he took at Joe,
which I thought
there's something personal there.
Right. Which I thought was kind of I won't say petty. I think it was kind of I don't even say low blow. It was kind of like, come on, M, you better than that. But it was clever.
Right.
It was good. Did you listen to the Budden podcast?
I listened to him addressing him.
Okay. What do you think?
It's like you said in the group, you saying I'm not going to get out of bed for M, but you dedicated an hour and a half.
1 hour was, hour and a half, so 101 minutes. So yeah.
You dedicated an hour and a half to just getting out of bed for this nigga.
Right.
And that to me,
And you can't say it was because I have a podcast. Nigga, you could have talked about the other stuff. You didn't even have to address
so many
that.
other things that happened this week.
Yeah.
Your podcast is 3 hours long. All you had to do was cut out that hour and a half, and you still have an hour and a half worth of content.
Exactly.
So, I look at all that, and I think that with what Joe said, he's coming from a Joe place. Mm-hmm. And me and you, we've had this conversation before. Sometimes Joe talks out of his ass. A lot of times Joe talks out of his ass, and you either see, you see what he's talking about later, or you just look like Joe's crazy the entire time because it never comes to fruition. Right. In this situation, the only thing that I partially agreed with was what Joe has been putting out over the last decade. It damn sure ain't been the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. But I can honestly say that in the last 5 years, I've enjoyed more Joe Budden content than I have Eminem.
Absolutely.
So that, like I said, I kind of agree with. Mm-hmm. But even with that sentiment, this is still M. Mm-hmm. M is like a crazy dog. You back him into a corner, he's going to fight his way out. We saw that with Kamikaze. Mm-hmm. With people shitting on Revival, he's like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go into the back for 2 months and I'm gonna come back out and I'm gonna give you some shit. Right. If Joe would have responded with bars, I truly think we would have had an Eminem record 2 days later. Yeah. And the only reason I say that is because I don't think M has that same respect for MGK lyrically that he has for Joe Budden.
Right. I agree. The thing about Joe is I do agree with a lot of stuff he was saying in his show. You know what I mean? The one thing I didn't agree with was the Eminem thing. And the main reason is because Joe has been on record. Hell, I think he's been on record within the last couple months calling him the GOAT, but then proceeded to say, I will beat your ass. I'll wash you. So which one is it? Is it Uchiwali or is it One Mic? Is this person the GOAT or can you beat him? You know what I mean? Like which one is it? You know what I mean? So with that, I'm like, nah, that's not the case. Again, I think you'll be able to hold your own. I think you probably put out a dope ass song. But what got me is, and I don't know if you've seen like the little snippets of the pull up with Crooked I that's not supposed to release. He said if him and Crooked I were battle, he would go into the booth, practice first. Oh yeah. How is it you're going to practice first with Crooked, but you're just going to dive into an M?
Now, I will definitely say,
I'm not saying neither one of them is I'm not saying Crooked is better than him or nothing like that. But even Crooked has said, how is it you're going to just go warm up with me, but you're going to dive into it with somebody who's been battle tested? For to realize, M has been battle tested. That's how he became a rapper over battling. I'm not discrediting what Joe Budden has battled because like I told you earlier, Joe Budden's been in a lot of stuff too. The real hip hop head definitely might say Joe Budden won that. But the consensus is, nigga, you lost.
When it comes down to Joe and M going back and forth, I don't even think it would be a situation of you'll hold your own. I think it would be a legit lyrical war. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I say that is because what we said in the group chat, he gave Drake 45 minutes of just pure content off of one Drake
and
mention.
He killed him. But what
what
was the consensus?
Consensus was obviously, cash rules everything around me. Whoever's the most successful cat is the one that's going to win. This situation is different. The only reason I say this situation is different is because people apparently want M out the game. Yeah. So now you have one cat who they never wanted in the game. Let's speak facts. Mm-hmm. They never wanted to really appreciate Joe Budden for what he was outside of him being, quote, crazy and all this other shit. Right. And then they've never wanted M in the game because he's a white boy spitting better than a lot of our black favorites. Mm-hmm. So now you have that bias against both of them. So now you're forced to just listen.
It's funny you say bias because I've seen people that sit there, they've never been fans of Joe Budden, call Joe Budden washed all the time, and I look at him like, no, he's nice. Or they call him trash. I'm like, no, you're crazy. Mm-hmm. But in the same turn, they'll say the same thing about M. But the only difference is they'll say, from what I've heard previously, M was gonna beat dude or wash dude. You know what I mean? So, like I said, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting, fun. It puts me in a weird spot because, like I said, they are both in my top 5. So it puts me out of a weird spot. It's like having two best friends, watching them go at it, or something happened to me at the time I was dating this chick and my best friend and the chick was going at it. I'm sitting there like, damn. So it puts me at a bad spot. Right. So it puts me at a bad spot. But if I have to give the edge to M because just like a lot of things Joe was saying on his podcast, he's been studying, just because you're doing it doesn't mean another person's doing it. And if we're looking at his track record, M is definitely patient in when he's gonna pull that trigger.
He's strategic.
Yeah. So just because you're watching a study person doesn't mean he's not doing the same to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see.
I don't know why no one has replied to Kendrick yet.
They're smarter than that.
I want to see Kendrick have like an actual battle with somebody.
They're smarter than that. It's crazy because Kendrick is best friends with whether you believe it or not, the GOAT M. So you ain't got to worry about that happening. Everybody else not on that level. So it's like, we're not gonna do that. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody tried to test him. Won't be surprised. It definitely won't be good.
I brought this up on the show before. I brought this up on the show before. I want to see a rap battle pay-per-view with M and Kendrick as the main event.
I'll watch a rap battle pay-per-view between Joe and Budden.
Between Joe and M?
Between Joe and M. Yeah, I'll watch that.
I'd watch that too.
I'd
watch it, but for some shit that I low-key would want to be in attendance for, I would love to see
Kendrick
versus Eminem. You know you're going to get some shit because you know this is where M comes from, and you know actually this is where Kendrick comes from too. But he didn't battle in competitions where you came out of money. He come from what we're used to with the battles, battling on the schoolyard, battling cats
in the bragging rights.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? So
it's a different dynamic. When
you battle to become the best, you know, in Compton, that says a lot because look at the track record of what Compton's produced. So I would love to see that, but I'm over here just introducing drama. Getting back to Joe and M, I would really, really appreciate seeing that. Yeah. Because I think that is what the game needs. Everyone needs to be on their toes and be their best artist.
And they should be. You should be your best when you're doing your craft. Don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about you being a person, but when you're in the booth and you're doing your craft, you should want to be the best out.
Right.
You know what I mean? You should want to, even if you're not the best out, you should want to give quality music to whatever fans that you have.
You should always rap like there's somebody there willing and waiting to take your spot.
The problem that I have with a lot of, I'm not even going to say a new generation because the older one too, is I feel like a lot of them forget why they got into rapping in the first place. Right. If you started rapping simply because you wanted to make money, then you were never in the right game. But if you're doing this because, like we heard, it's about the music, you want to do the music and anything else that follows is quote unquote the bonus, then I'm all for that. But I feel like a lot of rappers, they just, damn, I ain't making enough money. You know what I mean? They're always trying to chase that bag, even if that means giving up quality work to chase that bag.
Right.
It's about quality, not quantity. That's what I say.
No, I agree. Shit, there's artists out there we only got like 2 albums from. You know what I mean?
We didn't introduce his last week, but I know this is kind of off on a tangent, but since we're on this, Lauryn Hill.
I knew you was going to go there.
Lauryn Hill's a legend, right? Or she's considered a legend.
She's considered a legend.
She only gave us 1 album.
Yeah. She barely gives us concerts.
So it's I don't know. It's weird. But as far as the Joe and M thing, it was a lot that I did agree with in that podcast, but I wasn't there, so I didn't know. But listening to Crook's little interview, he got to shed real light on stuff, and a lot of what we opened with, Joe was being Joe. Like Crook said, like they're trying to do stuff and Joe just wouldn't communicate. How I look like me and you doing this show right now, you got to communicate with me and I'm telling you, I don't want to talk to you, talk to my manager. You're looking, no, nigga, I'm talking, you know what I mean?
I'm talking to you.
That's more or less what it was. Joe disappeared and then had their manager. And then I think they were trying to do something. He said, this was right around the time Joe was on Love and Hip Hop. And he was like, no, I'm doing this show right now. I'm not about to do no music for this. Dude, you signed for 3 deals. What you mean you're not finna do no music?
Right,
you signed for 3
about
albums.
To do this, right?
You are about to do it. Kirk was just explaining, like, I get it. You got riffs with the label or whatever the case is, but there's other ways to get out of a deal in a way that you did. And ultimately, when we really think about it, Joe is the reason why we didn't get Glass House. Joe's the reason why we don't have Slaughterhouse.
And that's actually something that we were talking about, outside. So I really want to introduce this conversation to the Ear Hustlers, at least before we close. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Joe has had an issue everywhere that he's signed.
Right. Everybody's not wrong.
Exactly. When do you get to the point where you're just like, maybe it's me? You know what I mean? Because like when you look at the Slaughterhouse situation, yeah, I understand you didn't have that much of a relationship with him. I get that.
But that's just him though.
Right. You're still under a major label. You're still under a major distributor. You still have a major following that you can bring up. The fact that everyone in Slaughterhouse is saying that it's your fault that Slaughterhouse didn't get to the heights that they were. And your argument against that was, oh, I wasn't able to, be one-on-one with M. I got to go through this, that, and the third. I couldn't get an M feature. We couldn't get on M shit.
Or saying M didn't support M. I heard Welcome to Our House on the first track. And I think he closed his verse. It wasn't even on that track. It wasn't even on that album. It was on Bad Meets Evil when they did a feature. He was like, and Slaughterhouse is signed.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for Joe to sit there and say, oh, he didn't do it. No, nigga. Yes, he did.
Bad Meets Evil. You got the BET Cypher.
Yeah, mind you, they did Bad Meets Evil. because Joe said he was going to do Love and Hip Hop, and you had to wait until November before he got into the booth, because they were trying to work on their second or third album. Right. That's the reason why they got Bad Meets Evil, because it was more or less shit. Joe said November, but then when November rolls around, now it's whatever month. You know what I mean? So they made that to kind of buy time.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, when you get to that place where you're blaming everyone but yourself, that's when people have the shit that they have to say about you, because you have no accountability as an artist and as a businessman at that. And it's like you said, you get to the point where everyone's not wrong.
Everybody's not wrong.
You know, I want to see, if you're black, I want to see you win. At the end of the day,
if you're black, I want to see you win, probably definitely more so than anybody else. But me personally, if you're a person, I want to see everybody win, because I feel like there's enough money for everybody. But
absolutely.
But I definitely want to see my black people
win. But there
win.
are definitely other people that are going to win a lot quicker than black people.
Absolutely.
But so that's why I say, if you're black, I want to see you win.
Yep.
In this situation, I really wouldn't be surprised if Joe Budden fucks up the Spotify money.
I think it's going to eventually come.
I think so.
I think it's going to eventually come. And like we said earlier, it sucks because it's two other people involved in that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's three. No.
Yeah, actually it's four, because you got Parks, I think Parks involved in that, and the dude that actually is their manager.
Right.
He's involved in that. What sucks about that is, and I feel for him, but at the same time I can't, because you knew what you were getting into when you decided to do this show with Joe.
And really, when you think that's a little different, because both of them, like that, those are his mans. You know, Maul
Maul is his mans. Rory, just to my knowledge, and he jokes in the show, Rory, I know is his mans, but Rory ain't been there like Maul. 5 years ago, Joe and Rory wasn't really.
Right, no, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like Maul come from the playground with Joe. Rory this is more so business, but that's also somebody that he considers very close to him.
Right.
And even though I mentioned Spotify, I also got to think about his deal with Revolt.
Well, no, supposedly that's good. Supposedly they're dropping shows soon.
Yeah, I get that, but when his major issue with M, at least from what I got from that hour and a half rant, his major issue with M was M not being present.
Right. M wasn't standing next to his boys or his men.
Right.
Right.
If M wasn't present, when the only thing M is doing is rapping, he's not even doing anything business.
Diddy gonna be present?
Diddy got 68 jobs, bro.
Diddy, I'm pretty sure you seen this picture of him looking at the dollar like, what the fuck is this?
Exactly. Of being perplexed by how this dollar got amongst my thousands.
Right. Millions. Almost billions.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, if you had an issue with M's presence in Slaughterhouse's success, you just told the world basically, when Diddy's not around, which he won't be, I'm gonna fuck up my deal with Revolt. It just, I don't know, that kind of way of thinking don't make sense.
His own way a lot, and I think with this M thing he's getting his own way. Now, don't get me wrong, rap is rap. I think though, if he feel like if he wants to just get into the ring with dude, then okay, by all means. But if you feel like there's something to salvage, then actually sit down and talk.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's funny because that song where he dedicated to him, like on his most recent album, forget the name of the song. He said that originally started out as a diss.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that lets me know, like, yeah, you may have had some stuff before, but that also lets me know that you didn't have the balls to make it a diss.
Right.
Or to sit down and talk with this person. But now this person took a cheap shot at you. Now you feel like you would destroy this person. If you felt that way when you were signed under him and Crooked, and damn near everybody on that label, I think it said maybe Joel Ortiz, had a solo career, including yourself, then you could have expressed those issues.
Here's the thing. Was it a cheap shot or was it a response?
Well, the reason I say it was a cheap shot is because I feel M is better than that. M has talked about domestic violence his whole career. True. And on the simple fact that.
Well, yeah, that line, yeah, okay.
And on this, yeah, I'm talking about that line. And for the simple fact that this wasn't like Joe didn't go to court. This was all dismissed. You know what I mean? So it's like one of those things allegedly. You know what I mean? Like, I'll take a cheap shot at you because it came out that you may have hit a girl, even though you didn't, even though all that shit's been squashed. I'm going to take this cheap shot at you because I can. I feel like M's better than that.
Okay. No, I feel like Joe, I see that.
Right. And I feel like Joe leaves himself open for a lot of the stuff to go at him. It's funny because, I think Rory mentioned this or Andrew Schultz actually mentioned this, how people that are more unknown kind of have the advantage than other two. And I guess you can maybe say this is hypocritical, but me personally, if I was a rapper or in that booth, I would destroy Joe and 50. Why? Because I study them and I've been involved with them so much. You know what I mean? But the only rapper now, hell no, I don't stand a fucking chance. No, but if I was a rapper, then maybe. Because
you were a rapper and had
them.
bars, because there are a lot of rappers.
Exactly.
out there.
There's a lot of rappers that had bars. So if I were a rapper with bars, then maybe. But then again, if I was a rapper with bars, I probably wouldn't be so involved with them as I was growing up.
True.
You know what I mean? So you got to take the good with the bad. That's why I don't really, like I said, I agree with Joe on a lot of stuff he was saying, but as far as him thinking he just going to beat M's ass, you're highly mistaken, my friend.
And you can't just introduce that thought and not back it up with bars.
Exactly. talking about, oh, if you come with something else, then I'll get in the booth and respond. Nigga, he took a shot at you. That's like saying you're not going to shoot back when a nigga shooting at you. And it's funny because Crooked asked him, first thing I understand, why you keep letting all these other people shoot at you and you don't do nothing? And his response was, I'm retired. So be fucking retired then, nigga.
Be retired.
Be retired.
Kev, let the people know where they can find you. Hey, that's a good way. I'm sorry. That's a good way to end it. Be retired.
Nigga.
@_Hollywood.
It is though. Hollywood Kev, _Hollywood Kev for my Twitter. Hollywood Kev _ for my IG. Don't forget to come out next month.
Yep. At Big Los IG on IG. Big Los 89 on Snapchat. At The Noize Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. BeatNetworkOnline.com/The Noize if you want to keep up with The Noize. BeatNetworkOnline.com if you want to keep up everything Beat Network. You might as well go ahead, add it to your bookmarks.
Mm-hmm. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Hit the subscribe button. Follow us on all the sites that you listen to us on.
And check out the most recent playlist.
Oh, another thing too. Yeah, definitely check out the most recent playlist. Get the strap. Did we announce that last episode? I don't think we did.
We didn't. We didn't know who we would do yet.
True. Get the strap. 50 RRO to 50. Rest in peace, Kanan. However you want to go about it. The Get the Strap playlist is available on Spotify.
And let me write. It's free.
It's free. Go listen.
Yeah.
Cognac Conversations, October 12th at the Truth Spot, Las Vegas. $5 pre-sale, get you that entrance and that drink ticket. So go ahead and do that. And
mind you, this $5 is going to help a family for Thanksgiving.
Yes, we are feeding a family for Thanksgiving. The sales are going great. We're all damn near sold out. Let's just call it what it is. So you might want to move on that. And also, New York folks, we will be out there for Comic-Con the 4th through the 7th. So come and holler at us, hit us up at the inbox. We can set up something, whatever it takes. Definitely trying to meet up with the ear hustlers out there. See why y'all are number 2 market. Let's find out. As always, we appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, we appreciate your support. And as always, it's Big Los.
Hollywood Kev.
It's The Noize.